Today we're going to talk about some common pronunciation errors. When I talk about mispronunciation, I'm talking about saying words wrong or with an accent that is not common. Saying words incorrectly makes you sound uneducated. As a journalist, it also makes you sound uncredible. No, I'm not saying incredible. I'm saying uncredible. You need to make sure that your listener will believe what you have to say.
Okay, hon. All right, then I'll see you around 10. All right, bye-bye. Listen, Carrie's not gonna make it home for dinner, so I'm gonna order her some pizza.
From where?
From Sal's.
Sal's? Have you lost your mind?
Okay, not Sal's. Then from where?
A little neighborhood joint called Domino's.
Domino's?
Yeah, that's it.
So let's discuss some common pronunciation mistakes. First, we're going to talk about slurring your words together. This could just be that you're not articulating like you should. For example, jeet instead of did you eat? What you doing instead of what are you doing? Wanna instead of want to. Gonna instead of going to. Some people will leave out parts of a word. For example, they might leave off the endings, like instead of walking, they'll say walkin'. Or instead of talking, they say talkin'. Or sayin' instead of saying. Sometimes people drop the middles of words. For example, they leave the T off of winter, and it sounds like they're saying winter. I hope it snows this winter. Or library instead of library. Remember, there's 2 R's in library. Or sometimes people say hundred instead of hundred. Here's some other words to watch out for. Make sure you have that T in don't. It's not don. And little, not lil. Recognize, not recognize. And length, not length. Some people then will add sounds to words. Sometimes they add an extra syllable. Like instead of theater, they say theater. Or instead of remembrance, they say remembrance. Sometimes people pronounce the letters that should be silent in a word. This word should be salmon, not salmon. And sometimes people add R's in the middle of words, like Washington or idea. Then some people put a different sound in for a word. This word is actually pronounced butter, almost like 2 soft D's instead of 2 T's. It's not butter. And this word actually is mother. It's not mutter. Sometimes they just say a sound wrong. Here are some common ones. They might say just instead of just. I just did that. They might say get instead of get. Like, go get that for me instead of go get that for me. And fur instead of for. Now this is a big problem I have. Saying that Texas I. And really what it is if you make that I sound kind of flat or nasal. The way you can test this out is trying to say these words with your nose plugged. Light. Bright. High. Tide. Try. You should be able to say them all clearly with your nose plugged. If you can't, you probably have that Texas eye. The way to solve that is just to drop your jaw down and make sure it all comes out your mouth. Another common thing is to mispronounce the way to say the words a and the. Broadcast professors always advise you to say and the because it's more natural and conversational to say it that way. People who say a and the more often sound like they're just reading to you rather than speaking to you. Now, the word a in most cases should be pronounced The only reason it isn't is if you're trying to make it really stand out. The word the officially has two pronunciations. People who say the too often sound like they're having trouble reading. So here's the rule. If the comes before a consonant sound, you should pronounce it the doctor, the one. Now realize that even though the word one starts with an O, which is a vowel, the sound that comes out is w, as in a W, so it still should be the one. Now, if it comes before a vowel sound, you should make that long E sound, as in the old, the elevator, the honorable. Again, realize that honorable starts with an H, but the sound that you hear is ah, which is an O sound. You usually do not stress the word the, and it's really connected with the word that's in front of it. Here are some words you really need to look out for when you're talking on KEOM. This word is pronounced community or community. Ask, not axe. 70s, not 70s. Precipitation. Percent. Library. And temperature. In order for you to correct any mispronunciations you may have, you really have to notice that you're doing it wrong. Here's what I would like you to do. From now on, try to listen carefully to people who are talking and pay special attention to their pronunciation of words. What do you hear most commonly mispronounced by others? Do you have a word that you often mispronounce? Try to pay attention and say your words correctly, even in everyday language.